Hello everyone, it's Adirunke again. I hope your day is going well. Today I'd like to address another song for Òrìṣà from Cuba. And when I did a YouTube search, I found several renditions and I selected some, but some didn't pass the copyright check and I'm afraid of strikes. So I decided to leave those out. Plus, I won't be able to monetize the video, but that's not so much my concern as the copyright strikes, because I already received one in the past. I don't want to receive another one again. I don't know what I'll do if I lose this channel. So I'm just going to play two renditions that are fine copyright wise, so that you can get a sense of how the song is sung, and then we can go into the lyrics next. That was beautiful. And this is another one from a stage performance. Okay, so this one doesn't go past this part. Is like a 35-second screen record, what is it called, quick recording that somebody probably did at a concert. So this one wasn't long enough, and the other ones that I found I couldn't upload. But if you check, well, I could upload but didn't pass the copyright check. So if you do a Iya Mi Leodo quick search on YouTube, you'll find several other beautiful renditions. I shared one on Instagram and Facebook, I think, and probably Twitter. That one I would have loved to share, but that one has copyright restrictions as well. Anyway, let's go into the lyrics. Before we do so, I'd like to mention that I have a video on what the word Òrìṣà means, and I believe I mentioned also that Òrìṣà is in fact what it is in one dialect, and Òrìṣà is what it is in another dialect. Both are correct. So if you hear Òrìṣà in a place like Òṣogbo and you hear Òrìṣà in Ọ̀yọ́, both are correct. There are some dialects that don't have the she letter, or have started to use the letter but didn't always do so. So si hinosu that they had. So just don't be surprised if you hear either of the two pronunciations. I broke what the word sun, which is the central verb, I broke it down, and please feel free to watch it because I don't want to reteach it. If I keep talking, I'm going to reteach everything that I've mentioned. These are the words. Ìyá mi ilé orò. That's the first line. Ìyá mi ilé orò. The second line is ìyá mi ilé odò. So the thing is, sometimes people go ìyá mi ilé odò twice. Sometimes people go ìyá mi ilé orò twice. It's just that I feel it might be both, that perhaps one had one line and the other had this, or the original could be oro twice. That's the thing. But the way that it is sometimes performed, you hear odo and then you hear oro, and then sometimes people say oro but put odo in brackets, or people say odo and put oro in brackets. So I'm just going to use both, just because it sounds like in one line they say this one and they say that one, or sometimes they start with oro and then they say odo. So ìyá mi ilé orò, that's the first line. Ìyá mi ilé odò, that's the second line. Ìyá gbogbo àṣẹ, ìyá gbogbo àṣẹ. Iye mi ṣáà lamawo, ìyá mi ilé orò. Ìyá mi ilé orò, ìyá mi ilé odò, ìyá gbogbo àṣẹ. Iye mi ṣáà lamawo, ìyá mi ilé orò. Iye is another word for mother, but we will address it soon. So if one is to say, if I'm to sing it, putting the right words into consideration, it would be something like ìyá mi ilé orò, ìyá mi ilé odò, ìyá gbogbo àṣẹ. Iye mi ṣàlàmáwo, ìyá mi ilé orò. Something like that. The analysis is next. The word ìyá is often translated as mother, but it is deeper than mother. So this is another video that I would recommend. It may seem like I'm just doing recommendations, but really it's just because I've covered certain things in the past. Ìyá, the word mother doesn't, as far as like the depth and the, it's not really as deep as the word ìyá. The word ìyá is a little bit more detailed as far as what the function of wherever we call ìyá is. So please feel free to check it out. The first line, ìyá mi ilé orò, or ìyá mi ilé orò. The ìyá there, for the purpose of translation, let's just say mother. Mi is mine. Ilé is house. Orò is custom or tradition. The word ro, the word ro is a combination of the noun maker o and the verb ro. So ro is very homonymic. Ro can be to speak, like ro ejo, could be to speak. It could be to think, ro inu. It could be to anyway, in and of itself, it is to stare. It is to stare. So if I say something like ro obe, stare the soup, stare the stew, stare. Ro inu is to stare the insides, to think, to. It could even be to imagine, to think. You're staring your head, your mind, your insides, your mind. To think, you're staring your mind. So roejo would be to stare words out of your mouth. It's like you're in your mind you have all these words. You know the word cup, you know the word knife, you know the word book, you know the word video. You start, just the way that I'm speaking, I'm just taking words from my brain, all the words that I've stored. I know what word is, I know what I is, I know what am is, I know what taking is. I'm just putting them together and bringing them out of my mouth. So I'm putting all these words together and I'm saying them one by one, and I'm making a kind of sense, hopefully. So that's, but the word in and of itself is oro, is I beg your pardon, is ro, is to stare. So oro is the thing that stares people. It's a custom, a tradition, something that you do that stares you, that, you know, causes you to do some kind of action, you know. It may be, and in this context, especially something that has been done over time, something that you do and it just makes sense to do, you know. That thing stirs you up, that thing binds a certain group of people and it stirs them up to a kind of action, you know, depending on what the oro is. So that's one meaning. But the English word custom or tradition paints the picture as well, so both are fine. Oro, in another sense, just to give you an idea of how, or money make, and how broad the word has gotten, how how it has taken on so many meanings. There's also a deity of government, of civil government, that is well known in present day Ogun State. So oro is responsible for the execution of laws and the maintenance of governance. Basically, they enforce laws. So the function of oro is, there are just a few similarities between the roles of oro and eshu, except that eshu's emphasis is more on, you know, justice. Oro is just, you know, executing the law. So there are mentions of oro in several songs, even songs that we children play with. There are certain games, you know, that refer to that oro, like boju boju, oh oloro mbo, eparamo. Sometimes if there's a law, and this was back then, if there was a law and somebody broke it, the oro, I don't want to say cult, the oro group would proceed to the person's house, and sometimes together they would scare the person off into the outskirts and want them never to come back. There were certain punishments like that. There were interesting punishments back in the day, but one of them was banishment. Don't come back here. You don't belong here anymore. And I think that one is one of the most harsh, but obviously not as harsh as executing them or something like that. So there's that oro, and I think there used to be a time when women had a say in that group until something happened. I don't know what odu covers. The odus get, at least within the past 1,000 years, were updated, so they just take something and they add it to a geogbe, or that's why these essays tend to be very long, and then you hear another essay and you're wondering is that one a geogbe too. But I'm not saying that one is under a geogbe. It's probably closer to the one of the 200 and somethings. So yeah, there's that, you know, there's that group that their purpose is just to execute the law, execute what has been established as law, and if somebody disobeys it, deal with them, you know, and scare them off, or meet in the midnight and determine what their punishment is going to be. So they were a very powerful group, of course. This is just to give you an idea of how government was like millenniums ago, several centuries ago, even millenniums ago. So that was another aspect to our governments. And a lot of the members of the Ogboni were also members of the Oro group, because cult always comes with a negative connotation. So there's that. Just apart from the ones I've mentioned, don't be surprised if you hear other mentions of Oro in other contexts. So anyway, in this context, custom, tradition seems to be what it is. I don't want to infer anything, I don't want to infer anything. So I'm just going to keep it at the simple meaning of Oro that we all know, custom, tradition. So my mother of the house of I beg your pardon. My mother of the house of customs and tradition. If I say Iya mi Nigeria, it could be, I'm either saying my mother of Nigeria, or I'm saying my mother from Nigeria, or I'm saying my mother in Nigeria. If I don't specify, if I don't say something like Iya mi to wa lati, my mother that came from, if I don't specify, it would be, or I don't say Iya mi ti Nigeria, my mother of. If I don't specify, it could be of, it could be from, it could be in, depending on the context. So Iya mi ile oro, the house of customs, of traditions. My mother of, or my mother from there, or my mother. What it just emphasizes is Oshun's strong feminine and maternal presence in traditional spiritual spheres. So the fact that Iya is here also emphasizes the maternal. The Odu Oshe tells us about a time when it seemed like maybe they didn't want women to participate in certain things, and I think it's still happening now. And that Odu teaches us that not only is it important for women to participate, it is crucial. Not only is it sensible, it is in fact crucial. So it just further emphasizes Oshun's influence in spheres related to the custom and the tradition, or Oshun's presence. So a nod to Oshun's feminine and maternal presence in traditional spiritual spheres, in decision-making spheres. If you're going to look at the other meanings that the word Oro could have, in which relates to, which in terms of government relates to the execution of laws and even decision making. Oshun has a seat in matters related to the custom and the tradition. She belongs there. And the last time that they tried to, I guess, erase her, we know what happened. So there is that. And then the second line, Iya mi le odo. Iya mi le odo. So the Iya is mother, mi ile odo. So my mother of, or from, the house of the river. Odo is river. So that is also a nod to Oshun's strong presence and power as a deity that works with and manifests in water. So Odo is river and it relates to water. So even among the water spirits, so to say, Oshun has a seat in the sense that she's a powerhouse in relation to deities associated with water, or who manifest in water, or who work with water, she's a maternal presence there as well. She's a maternal presence in that sphere as well. So it's a nod to her strong presence and power as a deity that works with water. And the third line, Iya gbogbo ashe. Iya is mother, gbogbo is all. Gbogbo is all. Gbogbo all. Ashe is power. And I have a video in which I explained what Ashe is as well. So what that is mother of all powers. Mother of all powers. And we know that Aki Bomi Shota, that water is life and no force can be an enemy to water. So Oshun has an influence over every sphere, really, over every sphere. There is a story that is told, and I don't know if it's in a particular Odu, or the thing is, nobody can remember all the essays of all the Odus, apart from the fact that there was a time when maybe not now anymore, but few centuries ago certain things were added, and the way information was passed down was through recitations and carvings. So that's another minus for the stealing of our art. But you carve certain things, and it's only somebody who understands the related Odu that would understand what you're trying to depict. For somebody who doesn't, they'll just be like, oh, okay, cool. Or who knows the story associated with it. So a lot of things we don't remember, and even our ancestors that were taken to places like Cuba and just the Americas in general, beyond Africa in general, there were certain things that they knew that went with them too. Like, the loss of people is the loss of information. So them detaching them from their people, they can't pass things down to them. They can't. I think that's why our ancestors were able to survive in these foreign countries, and till now their descendants are still thriving. There was so much richness and depth that, irrespective of how much they try to stop them and they try to water things down, if you look at certain things, you still see that depth, so but in relation to that, there's something regarding Oshun protecting fetuses. Again, I cannot tell you what Odu that is in, but in the amniotic sac, the baby needs water to survive there, and the baby can only move around in the womb because of the water in the amniotic sac. And even with sound, sometimes there's harsh force, and sometimes there's loud noise, and it is that water that sort of cools it down. Or else, if a mother is shouting or somebody's shouting near the mother, the sound, I don't know how old a fetus has to be before they can hear sound, but it will just come through and bother them more than the amniotic sac allows. If the fluid wasn't there. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is water protects. So for Oshun to have that level of influence, even as early as that in somebody's life, right from the womb, she's powerful. Apart from the fact that she's what this is saying is she's really a mother of, or a mother to all powers. Mother of all powers is what it is. I'm just, in my mind, I'm just trying to, make that. But I think that's simple enough. That's simple enough. And the way Oshun did her healing too, because there was a time when child mortality was really high. I think she also did something with the water in the amniotic sac as well. Oshun's healing methods were, I don't think we even till now, I don't think we know the full picture of how she actually worked. You know, the human Oshun, the human Awuraolu, the woman lady that we call Oshun, that was called Oshun, and we call Oshun Osun, if you will, as well. You know, I don't think we fully understand just how much of an influence she was to healing. So she worked with that water as well, and she's a mother of all powers. She's a mother to all powers. She's very powerful. If you're going to put that into two words, you say powerful mother. So that covers Iya, mother of all powers, powerful mother. And the other line, Iye mi lamawo, Iye mama, mama, yeye, Iya. What other words? I think those are the 5 most common words for mother. So Iye is also mother, Iya is also mother, Yeye is also mother, Mama is also mother. This is just another word for mother. Iye, 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 mother. And mi is my. Sha is for sure, or of course. It's, if it wasn't a question, it would be something like, isn't it? It was sha loje. You are the one who ate it, isn't it? Or aren't you the one who ate it? Or something like it. It's just emphatic. So in a statement, yeah, mi sha, that sha is for sure, of course, you know, sha. Lamawo is ni amawo combined. Ni amawo, ni is. Sometimes it could be are, sometimes it could be am. It just shows that something is. That's the gist. Ni, you know. And then amo, mo is to know. Amo is the one who knows. Amo, ìgbà t'órùn márùn, the one who knows when the sun. Well, that was a lame. That was a lame example. Amo, I don't know what I was trying to do there, but mo is to know. Amo, awo. Amo is the one who knows, and it's not more in the motor. It's more, but because, you know, something is coming after it, rather than amo, it'd be amo something, what comes after. So amo, the one who knows. And then awo is the obscure, the esoteric. I'm going to explain what the word awo is and what the word wo is. Wo, and I think I scribbled some that just have that verb. Ewo, iwo, ewo, awo, awo. Wo, anyway, is, I'm going to explain it soon in that video, but wo is something that is unclear or unknown and needs clarification. That's what wo is. So if you ask the question a wo, which one, as well, it's just a way of asking, like, which one. What wo just means, or what it conveys, is something that is not known, you know, something that you need to clarify. That's wo. Something that you need to clarify, that you need to, that you need to understand, you know. I'm explaining. Awo, in this case, well, in any case, well, in this case, would be the obscure or the esoteric. So the obscure, the esoteric, and the OA, they are just ad-libs. OA, they are just ad-libs. They don't really have, they are just emphatic, so to say. OA, they are just emphatic. So what that is, what these words mean, My mother is, of course, or for sure, or undoubtedly, the one who knows the obscure or the esoteric. And it's a nod to Oshun's depth, knowledge, and understanding of matters that are not obvious to the naked eye. Oshun was very knowledgeable, it was very knowledgeable. I think she was an Yalawu. As a matter of fact, she went through the learning process and she was able to build on her knowledge. So what this emphasizes is our ability to understand, anyway, her knowing things that not everybody knows. Just as a nod to all these, in Nigeria, she's also called Amawomaru. Amawomaru, the one who knows the obscure, the esoteric, the wow, things that a person would not necessarily think of naturally, and she doesn't the word ro is homonymic, so it could be somebody that is with Yorùbá, sometimes words are placed a certain way. It could be the person who knows secrets, confidential information, or esoteric information, and doesn't go tattletelling and doesn't go about saying it, who's able to hold on to information and doesn't necessarily rant about it, who is reserved, who is composed. It could be that, or it could also be the person who knows things without necessarily thinking, like it just comes to her intuitively. Could also be that as well. So one has to consider the two interpretations. It could be the first, and it could also be somebody who knows things without necessarily going, let me think about it. What could this be? She knows things that are esoteric without necessarily giving it that much thought. They just come to her intuitively. She just knows what to use here and what to do here without necessarily thinking. She's just, she knows things that are esoteric, that are obscure. What could the solution to this thing be? And she just knows without necessarily giving it too much thought. It could also be that as well. The person who knows things that are obscure, things that are esoteric, things that are hidden, without necessarily tattletelling, without, oh, do you know this? Or, oh, do you know this? Or, do you know if they are going to do this? Or, do you know this was what we discussed in our meeting of, in our meeting, do you so there is that. She knows things without necessarily overthinking about it, or even without thinking about it, things just come to her intuitively, and she's also reserved. So I would consider both meanings, because it could be both. Who's to decide which one it is and which one it isn't? One has to consider both. So that's for Amawomaru. But the lyrics, my mother is, of course, or undoubtedly, the one who knows the obscure, the one who knows the esoteric, the one who knows things that not everybody knows. She knows things about plants, and thanks to Osonyi as well for his own deep research in that regard. Things about plants, things about herbs, things about what you can do with a particular kind of stone. That's why I say otao. Particular kind of stone, a particular kind of gemstone or crystal. She's just very knowledgeable. She knows things that are esoteric, things that not everybody knows. So this is a very deep song, because it emphasizes Oshun's, not only Oshun belonging among the powers, among the decision-making forces, among the important forces, but her being like a powerhouse there as well. Oshun being the energy of Oshun being a powerful force of nature, her knowing things that not everybody knows. And the last line is just a repetition of Yami Ileoru. ìyá mi. So this song emphasizes the motherly aspect of her, because ìyá, iye, those words are used. And then ìyá gbogbo àṣẹ, powerful. Iye mi ṣá lamawo. My mother is, of course, the one who knows things that are esoteric, that you need to see with your ojú inú. In Yorùbá, we call the inner eye ojú inú, the eye of the inside. Fojú inú wò. Look at it with your inner eye. So things that can only be seen with the inner eye, things that are obscure, even in day-to-day terms, things that are exclusive information, you know, things that are exclusive information, she knows. She knows the past, she knows the present, she knows the future, you know, in relation to many things. So she's very knowledgeable and aware, and it also emphasizes depth. Powerful, motherly, knowledgeable, deep. So that's the song. Ìyá mi lé oro, ìyá mi lé oro, ìyá gbogbo àṣẹ, iye mi ṣá lamawo, ìyá mi lé oro. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. A big thank you to my patrons and YouTube members and people who have purchased from my Etsy store. I really appreciate you. I'm going to have some beads available soon, so I'm going to list those, and I'm just going to keep updating my shop, so please feel free to check from time to time, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.
Ọ̀ṣun oreye o, àwa ń bọ̀ àsìkò rẹ̀ ní tá ń bọ̀ kó jẹ́lù orójú, kó jẹ́lù ọ̀rá yìí, kárí jẹ, kárí mu, kárí lẹ, kárí ná, kárí lò, kárí bá ti ṣe, kárọ̀nà gbégbá. Omi o, omi àrèmọ̀sùn. Ọládé kojú ọ̀sẹ̀ǹgẹ̀sẹ̀ ẹlẹ́yẹlé aró tí ń bẹ lóṣogbo fi ń wu ni. Oreye yìí Ọ̀ṣun ṣẹ̀ǹgẹ̀sẹ̀ ló láyàn, àfidẹrẹmọ, alábẹ́nú àsáásí. Ọ̀ṣun ni wọ́n fìkàlẹ̀ jẹ mí o.